I'm shaving, getting ready for work, and my oldest son was 6 years old at the time. He's sitting on the floor next to me watching me shave. And I'm asking him, so what are you gonna do today? What are you gonna learn today?
Yeah.
And then he says to me, I told mommy she shouldn't kiss Uncle Stelios on the lips. She should only kiss you on the lips, and she told me to mind my own business.
This one is nuts. Woman is cheating on her husband who happens to be a CIA operative. Now, it's already weird enough, right? Like, he's an investigator for a living and you're cheating on an investigator. He probably gonna find out, right? Though it's wild how it is that he finds out, okay? But that's not just it. Also, what happens after he finds out is equally as insane, and it is so many lessons that we can learn off of this conversation, which is why I think that it's appropriate for us to talk about. So let's get right up into it without further ado.
And how did they meet, Mom and Dad?
How did they meet? At a Greek wedding in Warren, Ohio, which is why I thought when I met my first wife in a Greek wedding in Warren, Ohio, that would be good luck.
Right.
And it wasn't. It was a curse that's lasted all these years.
Oh, no. Wait, and so I was watching another conversation you were having. If you don't mind me asking, how did that end? How did the first marriage end?
Let's go.
In April of 2000,
Okay.
we were living in Athens. Tough assignment for me because we were critical threat for terrorism.
Athens, Greece, to be clear, not because there is an Athens, Ohio.
Athens, Ohio.
I think that's where your boy Joey Burrow's from.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm shaving, getting ready for work, and my oldest son was 6 years old at the time. He's sitting on the floor next to me watching me shave. And I'm asking him, so what are you going to do today? What are you going to learn today? You know, what are you going to play at recess?
Yeah.
And then he says to me, I told mommy she shouldn't kiss Uncle Stelios on the lips. She should only kiss you on the lips, and she told me to mind my own business.
Sorry. The look on this brother's face is the look and the feeling that I have right now. Now, mind you, by the way, this is a 6-year-old. 6-year-olds, while they might have imaginary friends and stuff like this, they're not going to concoct such a story of call and response and action and names of... How does the child know the man's name is Stelios? Why is the child in purview in watching his mama tongue down somebody that isn't his father? How does the 6-year-old even know or recognize that this is a bad behavior? Even the 6-year-old knows that. But also think about the desperation or the thought-bopness to be married and to do that in front of your child because you underestimated a 6-year-old's memory. These things are little reporters at this age, all right? But let's keep listening.
Felt like I had been electrocuted.
Yeah.
So I wiped the shaving cream off my face.
Yep.
I went into the bedroom. She was sleeping, and I kicked the bed.
Glad he didn't kick her. Okay, some people would have chosen that option. I'm not saying that's, let's just proceed.
She says, what? I said, who the fuck is Stelios?
Right.
She said, where did you hear that name? I said, who is he? And then she said, don't believe everything a 6-year-old says. And I said, I'm going to leave before I do something that I'm going to regret for the rest of my life. And so I got in the car and I went to work.
Mature response.
And that
Look at my
afternoon,
man's face.
she started calling me every 5 seconds. And I just would let it go to voicemail. Finally, the secretary came into my office and she said, John, your wife's on the phone and she's crying. I said, yeah, she should be crying. And she said, no, she was in a car accident and she's injured. And I was like, for God's sake. So she was calling my phone again, so I picked it up and I said, what? And she said, I had gotten in an accident and I'm injured and the kids are crying. And so I drove up to the accident scene and the car she was first in a left-hand turn lane to make a left. There was a guy 5 cars back. Greeks are very impatient drivers.
Okay.
She went to make the left. He came from the back and just T-boned her and pushed the car up onto the sidewalk and demolished it, and she broke her wrist, and it was a big mess.
Okay, so she was telling the truth.
So I go up there
Finally.
and get out of my car, my fully armored, BMW 540 with, my 2 guns. And I said to him, what happened here? And he gets all excited. He says, your wife? Inabutana, she's a whore. I said, my wife is a whore? And then he was in a coma for quite a while.
Whoa,
3
okay.
days.
In a coma. Think about how wild of a day this is, okay? Your mom and your dad met at a Greek wedding, all right? You met your wife at a Greek wedding. Like, you think that this is going to be the person you're going to be for the rest of your life, right? You are now in Greece, all right? From Greek wedding to now in Greece. Baby girl, listen, I know I'm in the CIA right now. We're going to go over here to Greece, right? It's going to be busy. I'm going to be stressed out, but like, we're going to be in this amazing country. Your wife meets Stelios, right? If you got a name like Stelios, I don't know if he was the personal trainer, all right? Stelios probably got like long, dark hair. He's probably at least 6'3", benches 315, all right? But your wife is in the Stelios. You find out this morning from your 6-year-old. Then your wife is calling you all day after you've had the maturity to step out of the house, step out the situation, collect yourself, all right? After your wife blamed the 6-year-old's wild imagination. Your wife's calling you on the phone. You come down to the accident that she's claiming that happened. And then you see somebody who you probably think is Stelios because he says that your wife is a whore. And then you punch that man in the face and then he's in a damn coma.
Quick emergency meeting. I was recently searching for my name online and found way too much personal information, which brought me down this weird rabbit hole of how that could have happened, and found out that there's companies out there called data brokers that will sell your data to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. And it's a nasty, disgusting feeling knowing that there's bad actors out there selling my information, selling your information for profit. But that's why I'm recommending today's sponsor, Aura. Now, I use Aura to automatically remove my information from these sites and keep my information off. But they do other things as well, such as bank fraud and identity theft alerts, VPN access. But guys, utilize my link down in the description box down below for a 14-day trial. At least see if you've been compromised. Privacy is king in this day and age, and you should know if your information is out there. So again, utilize my link, aura.com/MTR, in the description box down below to try 2 weeks free. That's way more than enough time to see if your personal data has been exposed. Go now.
First off, shout out, kudos to the man. After finding out that he got cheated on, that he still has an inkling of care within his body to even show up to the scene. But because he was unable as a CIA operative to control his emotions within that moment, he almost killed a man over his wife that was getting her cheeks clapped and rearranged by a giant Greek man. Let's keep going.
Oh, you had that built up.
Any other day,
Yeah.
I would have let it go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other day.
Okay.
So I got arrested.
Of course.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, and
How do you arrest the CIA station chief?
No, I wasn't the chief. I said, look, I have diplomatic immunity.
Crazy.
So, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. I admit I'm wrong, but I have diplomatic immunity.
Whoa.
And they're like, okay, just sit in the cell. They left the cell door open and they let me keep my gun, which was nuts.
Crazy. In jail.
But then they brought me in and the guy, he was clearly concussed. He hadn't yet kind of, faded out. That was at the hospital later, but he was sitting there in a chair and he's just like, you could see like the birds tweeting, from the cartoons.
From the cartoons.
And he says to me, so what happened? So I told the story. And then this is the police captain for the whole station. And he says to the guy, is that true? You called his wife a whore? And he said, yes, we got in an accident. She yelled at me and I called her a whore. I did not know that it is a crime to call a man's wife a whore in Greece.
That's crazy.
And so they charged him. And I said, listen, I can't get charged because I have diplomatic immunity, but in good conscience, please don't charge him.
Right.
I beat him like almost to death.
Yeah.
So they ended up dropping the charge. He filed a lawsuit against me later, but because I had immunity, it was just thrown out. And the only fight I've ever been in my entire life.
Wow. What do you think would have happened if you hadn't left the house that morning? Because remember the moment you said, I'm going to leave here before I do something I regret? Yeah, so many different places where you could ask yourself what you would do in a certain circumstance.
Good question.
Was that a moment for you? Like if you had stayed there, do you think you could have crossed to the other side?
I think it was possible
Okay.
on that day. I remember like physically seeing red, like everything momentarily was a shade of red, and I thought, I'm gonna lose control of myself.
Yeah. So walk
I
away.
better leave.
Yeah. Okay. For anyone unaware, diplomatic immunity is international law where if you have this immunity and you're in another country, that you cannot be persecuted or your family cannot be persecuted for a crime. You also can't be arrested, or civil lawsuits against you are going to be thrown out. So even after he dropped the charges onto the guy because he put the man into a coma and almost killed him, the guy still, and this is a wild thank you, still tried to sue him civilly. But at the end of the day, we don't know what the lasting injuries were, right? Like, we don't know what his medical bills look like. But it saved his ass. Not only did he have diplomatic immunity, but then also there's not free speech. And you can't call a man's wife a whore, even if she actually is a whore. This story, while crazy as hell, again, makes me appreciate even more, right, the freedom of speech that we have over here in the West. When I say the West, really just the United States, because it really doesn't exist in Canada. It's not in Europe. Most people don't realize that freedom of speech is the minority in the world, right? I actually did some Googling right before this and found out it's only in 30% of countries worldwide. And there's different levels of the freedom of speech, with the U.S. having some of the most liberal levels, right? Like the idea that you can't call somebody what they are, right? Now, there are some protections when it comes to, slander or libel or defamation of character, right? It's just like outright lying about something because it's not true. But if it's a true statement, irrespective of someone being married to someone, you can call them whatever that you want. You're going to have to deal with the consequences. But in this man's case, the diplomatic immunity and as well as this law were two things that would inevitably saved his ass. But inevitably, he would have never been in this situation if he chose never to marry a cheating whore to begin with. Imagine one of the first memories as a child, because at 6 years old, I remember things when I was back at 6 years old. Imagine one of the first memories is watching your mom kiss a stranger. Let's see what else that they got for us. The idea of control, that's something the CIA drills into you from day one. Let's see.
I remember my first operational boss telling me, as a general rule, he said, never lie to medical, finance, or security. They'll put you in prison. Never lie to me. I'll put you in the hospital.
Wait. Medical, finance,
and
security. So medical, because you could have something serious wrong.
Because maybe you've got a drinking problem, or you're snorting lines on the side to keep the hours going, or, you're going down some kind of spiral and you don't want anybody to know.
Interesting. And then finance.
Yeah, every 6 months or so, we would get this all hands email from the director, whoever happened to be director, saying, one of your colleagues was arrested this morning by the FBI for misusing his CIA credit card. Let this be a warning to all of us, blah, blah, blah. Never charge a prostitute to your CIA credit card. And if you're going to steal from the CIA, steal millions. Don't steal $200.
That's wild.
And then you get 6 months in jail.
Yeah.
So that's what security will do to you.
Okay.
And then finance is the same thing. Well, security is worried that you're going to go to the Russian embassy and say, hey, listen, I have a gambling problem. I need 50 grand right now, and I can make it right for you.
People would sell for that little?
That's what Aldrich Ames sold for. His first meeting with the Russians, he needed to pay off a $50,000 credit card debt. And so he gave up the identities of two of our agents, and they were both immediately executed.
You lying.
$50,000.
Whoa.
But you assume
All right,
if you're
let me stop the conversation right here because it seems like the relationship talk is done. Guys, I'm going to leave a link to this in the description box down below. Feel free to go over there and finish out the podcast. I always say that there's three sides to every story, but when I hear things such as the child saw it and then mentioned it, right, I automatically think that the person who's getting ratted on by the kid is in the damn wrong. But, there's a lot of life lessons that can be learned out of this. And no matter how much of a good guy that you are, no matter how hard that you work, no matter what your purpose is, right, or the foundation or the stability that you're trying to set up for your life or the life of your wife, there's just some women out there, if you do not recognize the red flags or the key indicators early on, they're more than willing to throw away or to sabotage all of that simply because they are more wired for impulsive behavior. And as I look at the swiftly falling marriage rate and the rapidly increasing divorce rate, right, I think we have a vetting problem. Too many of them are in there for the lifestyle or the wedding. Meanwhile, being a wife so separately, or even being a good person so separately. So stay safe out there, y'all. Continue on focusing on your path and your purpose, because choosing or selecting the wrong one, I mean, it might turn out as crazy as what this is, all right? And effectively undo years of your hard work because you trusted her. You thought she was loyal. Meanwhile, she had a stelios on the side. Guys, drop me your questions, comments, concerns down up in the comment box down below. But that's all that I got for you here today. I appreciate you guys. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you very soon. Until next time, peace.
So, without further ado, MTR, cut through the BS like we in charge. No cap with the rappers like steel bars. I'm packing and rapping like here we are. Here we are. Mediocre tutorial reviews. Like, comment, share my views. Come up and I paid my dues. Big step in my black way shoes. MTR, he break it down, yeah, it's MTR. Check out the sound when it's MTR. No one put it down like it's MTR.